from the Pacific Coast League. So we're underway as Roberts is jammed and pops over toward foul territory. Overbay is there, and now Brian Roberts is 0 for 11 in this series. Critical to keep him off the base paths, as you know, Pat, and the Blue Jays have done that.
Well, he's got so much speed. He's up in the top of the American League and runs scored. There's a reason for that. He gets on base, and the guys behind him have been productive. This is an Orioles team that has struggled in this series and of late hitting. 1 for 14 yesterday with runners in scoring position. They left 11 runners on base. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's a good start there for Scott Richmond.
Strike one to Adam Jones, who has not had trouble hitting. He was 3 for 6 yesterday, had a solo home run against Robert Ray, and right now rides a 9-game hit streak. 371 is his average. Richmond with a 1-strike pitch, now 2. So it's 0-2 on the number 2 hitter.
His batting average over his last 8 games, he is in some kind of hot streak also. Over 400. He has raised it from 327 to that current 371.
That's way up into the upper deck behind home plate. Vancouver's Scott Richmond, a perfect 3-0. What a surprise.
I just like when he is on that mound, how confident he is. And when you talk to him, it's a good pitch right there with 2 strikes.
Roland throws out Jones, 2 gone.
When you talk with Scott Richmond, he's got a plan. He has an idea. He's trying to make himself better. Feels like he belongs here, and he absolutely has pitched like he has belonged here. And I think that really rubs off on a lot of his teammates.
To a degree, Richmond has been the glue holding together the rotation after Roy Halladay pitches. You've seen a whole bunch of different names take the mound for the Jays so far this year. Robert Ray yesterday, Brett Cecil on Tuesday, Brian Talbot out of the bullpen, but Richmond has been a constant. If there's one troublesome spot for Richmond, it's facing left-handed hitters. This year they're hitting .260 against him. He's given up 3 home runs on the season, all of them to lefties. Here's the 0-1 on Markakis. Travis Hafner hit 1 against Richmond, and then 2 in 1 game when he pitched against Texas, Josh Hamilton and Chris Davis.
3 pretty good power hitters, so really just giving up 3 home runs to lefties is not that bad.
And this man at the plate can yank it out of the park. We saw that in the opener on Friday when he hit a 2-run shot against Roy Halladay. 2 balls and 1 strike on Markakis. Two and 2. Scott Richmond has come a long way from the independent leagues. Pitching for a first-place team now.
Well, he does one of the things that Cito Gaston likes from his pitchers, and that is throw strikes consistently. When he first came up last year, that was the first thing you noticed, that he's always around the plate.
He grounds to first. Overbay has it. Richmond's covering, and a 1-2-3. What a nice start for Scott Richmond. Here comes the top of the order for the Blue Jays after this. But that's Cito's way, and he likes what he has in the top two with Scutaro and Aaron Hill, who once again yesterday was the hero with a game-tying home run in the 10th, drove in the winning run in the 11th. And even though some are struggling, like Lyle Overbay and Travis Snyder, he sticks with them. And here's a man who struggled early in his last outing against Texas. This is Jeremy Guthrie.
Taking the mound in hopes of helping his team avoid its 8th straight road loss. Jeremy Guthrie.
Roberts throws out Scutaro.
Here's a scouting report for the Baltimore Orioles starter this afternoon. He's got a very nice compact delivery. So he, like Scott Richmond, is going to be around the plate a lot. He's got a good fastball command, and I think that's the key to him. And he's got to keep the hitters off balance. Does it with a slider, a downer curveball, and a changeup, but he'll mostly pitch off that fastball and move it around the plate. He's got good command. He won his first 2 starts of the season, the first time in his career that he has done that, but has not won in his last 3 starts. And you kind of mentioned the first inning troubles he had in his last start against Texas. Oh my goodness, 37 pitches it took him to get through the first inning.
He ended up going 5 in that game, a no decision, and actually left with the lead. But the Rangers came back to win 6-4.
You know, it took him the 37 pitches. He only faced 5 batters. Didn't give up any runs. But there were 15 foul balls, and it just seemed like it took forever. And he was talking after the ball game that he felt that first inning, where throwing so many pitches, really took its toll on him, and he was only able to go 5 innings. It took him 101 pitches to get through 5.
Here's Aaron Hill. And he rips the ball high in the air toward right field. Markakis over for a look, but it's out of play. Let's bring in Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, noticeable darkness in the left side of the infield, especially from my perch here, but there is a bank of lights out just past the third base side, about a half a bank of lights that even just sitting here on my everyday perch, I can notice a difference in the lighting in the building.
Good observation there, Sam. We'll see if that comes into play with the right fielder. Best way to fix it, just crack open the roof.
Just open it up. Let's go.
Not that it's that easy, but it's a beautiful day in Toronto. Well, look at the numbers for Aaron Hill, who must be seeing the baseball like it's a beach ball these days.
Well, he's hitting every pitch. We saw the home run. That was a fastball that was down and in. The base hit that he won it with in the 11th inning was a slider out over the plate. Everything they're throwing up there to try and get him out, it's not working. Baltimore Orioles defense that will get tested this afternoon. It's our first look at the left fielder Felix P.A. came over from the Cubs, highly touted player. Gets the start in left field. Melvin Mora on the left side, the player with the most games for the Orioles on their roster. Chad Moeller gets the start behind the plate this afternoon.
Alex Rios now looks at a breaking ball for ball one, and before the game, Cito Gaston was asked if he might consider moving Alex out of the 3 spot, and his simple answer was no. Pressed for a reason, he said, because that's where I want him. End of discussion.
Yeah, I love that. He goes, I was a player. You know, things, you go up and you go down, and you show a lot of confidence to players when you know, when things aren't going too well, you start moving them around the lineup. Showing confidence in Rios by just leaving him there, and you're right, that answer, because that's where I want him. Beautiful.
He'll come around eventually. Now, Alex's numbers aren't that bad in recent games. 7 for 22 in his last 5. And he lines that shot into left field. Gets off the wall quickly. PA plays the bounce. And the throw is late, so Rios has a double.
That is a good sign if you're a Blue Jay fan.
And a good sound.
A very good sound. Watch where this pitch is. It's up and it's in. And instead of dropping that back shoulder and lifting the ball, he stays on top of it, which is so important. Something that the Blue Jays hitting coaches have been working with Alex Rios, Gene Tennis in particular, staying on top of the ball and lining the ball instead of lofting it.
So Rios has an extra base hit with 2 gone in the first inning. And the next extra base hit by Vernon Wells will pass George Bell and put Vernon into sole possession of second place all time among Blue Jays. Right now he has 471. Guthrie on the hill, a 1-0 pitch, and that catches the outer edge. 1-1.
That's where he likes to place that fastball to right-handers. He likes to make them reach for it, get you leaning out over the plate, and think about that, and then bust that fastball in. He's very smart, Jeremy Guthrie.
1-2 now. Guthrie pitched in the World Baseball Classic for Team USA. Made 2 appearances, both against Venezuela. Finished with an 0-2 record and a 14.73 ERA. He got roughed up in the World Baseball Classic. He's the ace of the staff here in Baltimore, though. 1-2 on Wells as he takes a long look at Rios. And that's yanked foul. Vernon's hitting .287, 3 home runs and 14 RBIs. And as you saw earlier from Scott Carson's graphics, the Blue Jays are the number 3 team in the American League hitting with runners in scoring position. There goes Alex from second, and it's fouled away.
Now you might say, well, what is the big deal about stealing third base with 2 outs? Well, a ball in the dirt then. If he's at third base, he scores an infield single by Vernon Wells and he would score. They aren't holding him on at second base. Brian Roberts, the second baseman, and Cesar Astures way back, basically conceding him third.
In the air to left field. Wells has gotten under this one, and you can kiss it goodbye.
There's your extra base hit.
Yep.
Exclamation point. Home runs have been a problem for Jeremy Guthrie. This looked like an off-speed pitch that got Vernon Wells out in front, but he was able to keep his hands back and his weight back for the most part, and then power it into the bullpen in left field. If you can keep your weight back on a breaking ball like that and then explode into the ball, good things like that are going to happen.
Home run number 4 for Vernon. Rios comes in ahead of him. 2-0 for the Blue Jays. And ball 1 to Adam Lynn. Here's a shot to short, initially fumbled by Astures, and he gets it to first in time, and that's the inning. But Wells goes deep with his 4th. 2 runs are in, and Scott Richmond works with a 2-0 lead as we head for the second inning. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. face because he caught the ball that Vernon Wells hit out. Fans, you can play Sportsnet.ca's Game in the Game while watching this ball game for a chance to win a 52-inch Sharp Aquis LCD TV as Aubrey Huff singles to right field. Here's how you do it. Go to Sportsnet.ca/baseball game and launch it right now. Aubrey Huff doesn't waste any time getting on.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot of that this afternoon as long as Guthrie is in there and as long as Richmond's in there. Again, they're two pitchers that are very similar in that they throw a lot of strikes. They're around the plate. I think the hitters will go up there with a mentality this afternoon that swing hard and think later, right? See it and let it go.
Well, Melvin Mora's thinking that. He goes after the first pitch. You watched Richmond's game on Tuesday and commented that a lot of the off-speed stuff that he was throwing finished out of the strike zone, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, it is, because that breaking ball has been so tight, and he throws it out of the same arm action. That's going to be hard for right-handed batters to pick up. Kansas City Royal hitters had a lot of check swings.
Here's a comebacker to Richmond. He turns for second, slung to first, and safe is Mora.
The timing was messed up ever so slightly on the throw from Scott Richmond to Marco Scudero, who was covering on that comebacker. Watch how Richmond takes it, kind of crow hops a little bit, and Scudero can't get anything on it because he's got to throw off of his right foot. Now, from here, it still looked like he was out, and it sounded like he was out, and the replay shows that it just beat Melvin Mora, but he's called safe by first base umpire Jerry Lane.
Well, Mora's on with Luke Scott, the left-hander, coming up. He's the DH. And he swings and misses at the first one. On a play like that one, does Richmond want to throw to the bag the way he would try and hit a receiver if this was a football game, or wait until Scudero gets there?
You don't even think about that as we see the replay one more time, and he beats Mora with that throw. You are taught, you catch the ball, you turn, and you already know who's covering before you let go of the pitch to home. You know who the guy is who's covering. Your job is to throw it over the bag. That's your job. And once you let go of it, you let the infielder take the rest of it, catch it, find the bag, make the play. But it just looked like there was a little indecision, a little hesitation, and that kind of messed up the timing.
Well, we'll see if this development comes back to haunt the Blue Jays here. 1-1 on Scott, the DH. Mora at first, and it's ripped to right field on a line and out of here. Boy, that got out in a hurry. And yes, it does haunt them. A two-run home run ties the ball game.
Boy, Luke Scott really likes hitting here at Rogers Center. He looks comfortable. He looks like he sees the ball. We mentioned the 2 home runs he hit off of Roy Halladay last year. This time a laser down and in. That's right where lefties like it. Down and in. You just drop the head of the bat, and this one gets out quickly. Watch how it ricochets off the wall out there. And you're right, that play at first base just cost the Jays a run.
Scott is all smiles. Chad Moeller is the backup catcher and gets his first start in the series. A pair of 2-run home runs in the ball game as Moeller swings and misses. 0-2. So Richmond gives up his 4th home run of the year and 4th to a left-handed hitter. The 0-2 offering, swung on and missed by Moeller.
Here's that breaking ball that we were talking about out of the strike zone that we saw a lot of check swing or swinging through for a strikeout for Richmond in his last start. No chance right there for Moeller to catch up to that one. Swings right over the top of it.
Felix Pie now, the left fielder. Right-handed hitters have really struggled this year against Richmond. He's held them to a 179 average.
That usually means you have a pretty good breaking ball.
So it was interesting that Dave Tremblay would go with a right-handed catching option in Chad Moeller and not Greg Zahn, who was a switch hitter, even though Zahn had started the previous 2 games. PA lifts it to left field, and that's over the head of Travis Snider. And now PA stops at second. So 3 hits in the inning, a single, a double, and a home run.
Certainly didn't look like a batter who was hitting $1.57 coming up here. 1-0 count, stays right on that one, doesn't pull off on that one, and he hits it hard to left field over the head of Travis Snider for extra bases. PA had really been struggling. He took some extra batting practice the other day, and they didn't allow him to get the ball in the air. They said, you're going to hit everything on the ground and level out that swing and start to use your speed. Didn't need his speed there. That was a stand-up double.
Here's Esturras bouncing it down the foul territory along the right side, and Esturras, a switch hitter, went 2 for 5 yesterday and found himself in a tie ball game in scoring position in both the 7th and 9th innings. If they could have found a way to get him in, the Orioles might have won that ball game. PA at second base, the 0-1 pitch. Line right back to Richmond. He stops it, casually picks it up, and gets the runner at first. Didn't panic, made the play, and leaves an Oriole on base. Luke Scott with a 2-run shot. Dangerous jobs. Sam Cosentino had alerted us to the lights that were out on a bank way above third base, and now some of them have come back on, and somebody is up there diligently trying to get the rest of them. What a job. Here in Toronto, tied at 2 on Rogers Sportsnet. Jamie Campbell is with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. Scott Rowland had a day off yesterday and has a 2-0 pitch coming from Jeremy Guthrie, now 3-0.
Cito's done a good job of giving Rowland days off when he needed to, or when he needs to, and I think it's really helped Scott to kind of stay in a nice little groove. A lot of times veterans can handle that a lot easier than young players, those days off. He is staying strong and hitting over 300.
Here's a one-hopper to Esturras, and he takes care of Rowland. And it's not as if Rowland was kept out of the lineup because he's scuffling. In fact, he's hit safely in 8 coming into this game. It's just a matter of giving him a breather every now and then.
Keeping him strong early in the year.
And Lyle Overbay has certainly struggled in recent times, 1 for 20 in his last 6 games.
Cito was talking about that before the game, about why Kevin Millar pinch hit for him. In yesterday's game, he said, you know, Lyle obviously has been struggling a little bit with the bat. Kevin's been hot, and if the roles were reversed, he would use Overbay as a pinch hitter if Millar was in the game. He said, the way our lineup is set up right now, we don't have a whole lot of guys that I'm going to pinch hit for. But I'll see who's hot. I'll see the numbers, the matchup numbers. He's right. The Blue Jays do not pinch hit a whole lot.
That was the 8th inning, bases loaded, and Dave Tremblay had called in Jamie Walker, their lefty specialist, to face Overbay. That's when Cito countered by pinch hitting Kevin Millar, who promptly worked the count a little bit and then flied out to right field. There's the strikeout pitch of Overbay, and he's gone for out number 2.
Just the 3rd time all year that Cito pinch hit. You can see right now Lyle is really overthinking. Instead of just letting his natural talents come by. Here's 2 strikes, and this is a fastball that splits the plate. Tells me that he's a guy who's thinking and looking for certain pitches instead of just going up there and just looking for the ball. Let's try and make it a little bit more simple. Look for the ball. Let's eliminate a few pitches and just let the bat go.
Rod Barajas has certainly heated up. I seem to remember about 2 weeks ago he was hovering around 200. The Jays went on that road trip through Chicago and Kansas City. Rod hit 500 on the trip. His average now sits at 329. And he rips that one up the middle. He is sizzling. A base hit with 2 gone.
You know, and he's hitting the ball all over the park. Saw him hit one down the line the other day, and then we saw him hit one in the gap in the right center field. Last year it seemed like he was very pull happy, trying to get the head out. Now, with a little bit more consistent playing time, his timing is a little bit better, now using the whole field and hitting the ball hard. No cheap hits for Rob Barajas in the last couple of weeks.
And now Snyder airs it out to left field. PA is back to the wall, and that falls short into the glove of the left fielder. And that ends the 2nd inning. Still a 2-2 game. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Internet, the fastest and most reliable period. 4 of the Blue Jays' 9 home wins have come in the last at bat. Game 2 against Detroit, bottom of the 9th. Barajas drove in Bautista. A walk-off win against Oakland on April 18th. They walked off against Texas, courtesy of Kevin Millar, on the 22nd of April, and last night, or yesterday, that was a day game.
Well, it was pushing towards the night.
We get crossed up when the roof is closed here.
But it was pushing towards the night. It was around 5 o'clock, right?
You saved me.
You know what's impressive about that is they had 11 walk-off wins all last year. Well, 6 walk-off wins, 11 wins in their final at bat, and they've got 4 already this year at home.
And their first walk-off last year didn't come until sometime in
June against
the Orioles. That's right.
When a ball went right through the shortstop's legs. He's no longer here. For their first walk-off win, I believe it was the first week of June.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what his name was.
Number 3. I remember he was number 3.
0-2 on Brian Roberts. Ooh, right at the elbows.
Bynum. Freddie Bynum.
Freddie Bynum. Seems like a while ago. Here's a tapper back to Richmond. And he's got Roberts again.
Yeah, and he's making pitches to close out batters, isn't he? He's jumping ahead. Strike 1, strike 2, and then instead of hanging pitches, he's making good pitches to finish off batters. That was a tough pitch right there to Brian Roberts in a very defensive swing.
Well, he faces Adam Jones now. About 3 hours ago, Jones sat down at a computer in the clubhouse to get his first look at Richmond. Study the man he'd face in the ball game today.
Well, I know he had to have faced him at some point last year.
He must have forgotten, because he was, as I walked past him, he was scurrying to find a computer trying to figure out who the guy was that was going today and what he threw.
In Scott's final start last season, he defeated Baltimore.
Got his first big league win.
First big league win. 3-0.
2 strikes on Jones.
There's another one.
That video hasn't helped much.
Well, you see how he got ahead again, 0-2, and then made a good pitch. Not a mistake in the middle of the plate or something in. He goes with that breaking ball down and away again to finish off a hot hitter.
Let's pick up on this conversation with Sam Cosentino. Sam, take it away.
Jamie, both you and Pat dead on with your assessment of first pitch swings. First time through the lineup, 7 of the 9 hitters first pitch swinging, not just first pitch strikes.
Always a good statistic. And you remarked in his opening start down in Cleveland earlier in April that the action on his baseball looked tremendous. He wasn't hitting the strike zone. Everything was too far off the plate. And he seems to have corralled that in the last 3 starts.
Yeah, and we talked to Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach, when we were in Minnesota a couple weeks ago. And one of the things that they've worked with Richmond is to get his legs and his arms moving in the same direction to help him stay compact in his delivery. Watch how out of the windup he stands with his hands in front of him. Then they go down to his belt, and the arms come up and the leg comes up at the same time. That keeps him back, keeps him compact, and he has been all over that strike zone.
Whereas last year his motion would have that glove stuck right at the chin until it was time to deliver the ball.
Here it is again. They go down to the belt. He goes back, and now they work in tandem, and that keeps him over the rubber, lets his arm catch up to his body, keeps that delivery compact, and it keeps you repeating that delivery.
2-2 on Markakis. That's up high. A full count on Markakis, the number 3 hitter, who is 0 for 1. Aubrey Huff's on deck for the Orioles. He singled in the 2nd inning. Runs it in on Markakis, and he gets a piece.
Robert Ray in the bullpen did a good job yesterday against Markakis, stopping his 17-game hitting streak. Took an over. Here's young Robert.
No decision in his big league debut, but certainly acquitted himself well. He's watching Richmond work, and Richmond watches that ball fouled away yet again. The Blue Jays have won 6 of the 7 series they have played in so far. They haven't swept anybody yet. Today's an opportunity. Into left field. Playable for Snyder. And for the second time, Richmond gets a 1-2-3 of the dangerous top 3 hitters from Baltimore. Steal as many bases as you'd like to see, but you can't argue with his numbers from the leadoff spot this year.
No, you certainly can't. He's added a little power with the 5 home runs, which is 4th in the American League. His on-base percentage coming into this game very good at .400, and that will lead to a lot of runs scored. Marco has scored 24 runs. And that 24 puts him 3rd in the American League behind Nick Markakis and Adam Jones.
A .408 on base percentage. Very good for a man at the top of the order. As he faces Jeremy Guthrie. Boy, sometimes an organization hits on a player. And really, you've got 2 cases here. Scudero, who came over as a free agent prior to last year. And Jeremy Guthrie, who was released by the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, picked up off waivers from the Cleveland Indians back in January of '07. He went out there and he led the team last year in wins, Baltimore with 10, and he also finished 7th in the American League in batting average against at .242. He'll cut that fastball away from right-handers. Former #1 pick of the Cleveland Indians. That was back in 2002.
3-2 to Scudero. Marco has already drawn a team leading 23 walks this year, and he gets 24. Good way to start the 3rd for the Blue Jays.
Jeremy trying a little bit too hard there to paint that fastball on the outside corner. 3 straight pitches that cut right off the edge of the plate. The last one for ball 4. Good start here.
Back comes Aaron Hill now. He grounded out to 2nd. His first time up against Guthrie. Watches that one sail high, 1-0. Aaron has made a remarkable comeback from, though we didn't know it at the time, a career-threatening concussion suffered last May in Oakland. Gets fooled there on the pitch. A changeup from Guthrie, and it's 1-1.
Did you do that game out in Oakland?
No, I was there in the stands.
It looked harmless, didn't it?
It did.
Innocent.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like David Eckstein is one of those big bruisers where he's going to run into him.
It looked harmless until you saw the replay and saw the way Hill's head was jarred. And then when he got on the plane after the game, went down to Anaheim, met with his wife and I believe his father. They went out for dinner and he felt really dizzy and had to go to the hospital. You knew it was serious at that point. You know, the best thing about Aaron is that when I saw him later last summer, yes, he was upset he'd missed a bunch of games. Yes, he was upset that he wasn't healing as quickly as he would like. He was more upset by the fact that the Blue Jays were paying him and he wasn't doing anything for his pay.
Shows you the type of guy he is, huh?
Sure enough.
Type of gamer. Well, it's all coming together for him so far in the 2009 season. Boy, he's becoming some kind of clutch player. That home run he hit yesterday was so big. You know, I mean, who was expecting a home run, right? Leading off the bottom of the 10th inning when you're down by a run and you're facing the closer of the other team. Just hoping to get on base, right?
And it wasn't one of those cheap, just made it over the wall home runs. It was a monster shot.
And he knew it, too.
Sure.
Hit it, put the bat down, put his head down, and ran around the bases. And then for an encore, next inning, won it for him.
And here he is with a 2-2 count facing Guthrie. Nobody out. Scudero at first, and he goes after that and luckily gets a piece of it. I guess we can't fault Aaron for chasing a pitch out of the strike zone because he seems to square them up wherever they go.
Yeah, you know, I like how aggressive he is in the number 2 hole. He's hitting everything they're throwing up there. Not just fastballs. This looked like a changeup, yeah.
And it is. And Hill's gone on a foul tip.
That's the pitch that they got for strike earlier in that sequence, and it looked like Chad Moeller was trying to sell that he ran into the batter, and then Marco Scudero would have been called out. The home plate umpire Chris Tiller was not going to have anything to do with that.
Alex Rios bobblehead day is coming up 2 weeks from today. The White Sox are here. The first 10,000 fans get the Alex Rios bobblehead presented by Federal Express. For tickets, look at BlueJays.com or visit your local Rogers Plus location. Here is Alex, who doubled and scored with 2 out in the first inning. 1 away here. And Scudero up at second base. As Hill struck out, Marco stole his second bag of the year. He's into scoring position. Rios has a 2-0 count now, 2 balls and a strike.
Guthrie tried to come in his last time. That's when he hit the double. We'll watch him here if he stays away from Rios now.
He grounds a ball to Roberts, who throws out Rios. And Vernon Wells, who homered his last time up, has a man at third base with 2 out.
You know, it looks like the Blue Jays have seen something in Jeremy Guthrie, because Marco Scudero at second base, this is the second Jay in 3 innings who have tried to steal third base off of Jeremy Guthrie. So maybe they see something in his windup or when he's in the stretch that tells them that they can take third base.
Strike 1 on Vernon. Wells' 4th home run of the season came on a hanging curveball 2 innings ago and gave the Blue Jays a short-lived 2-0 lead. There's the changeup down low, a 1-1.
I think that Jeremy Guthrie's secondary stuff really complements his fastball, because he can throw that fastball both sides of the plate. He complements it with some good off-speed stuff. That changeup that he threw, well, the two changeups he threw to Aaron Hill were excellent. Great arm action. Great movement. Cito was talking about that before the game, about changeup.
Fastball yanked down the line and out of play. In fact, Cito was giving credit to the Tampa Bay Rays. He said one of the reasons why they were so successful is people like James Shields and Andy Sonnenstein and Matt Garza had really mastered the changeup, and it's such an effective pitch because it looks like a fastball. It's just about 10 miles an hour slower,
or even more.
Sure.
I mean, if you've got good arm action like Guthrie does, tough to pick the spin up.
Esturris throws out Wells, and Scutaro is left at third. So we've completed 3 here in Toronto. It's still a 2-2 game. TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone, and there we find the Anti-Bullying and Conflict Resolution Group. And here we find Aubrey Huff.
Huff didn't waste any time his first time up, ripping the first pitch from Richmond. Now he's very careful here. 2-0.
Now 3-0. We've got some interesting groups coming to the ballpark. Ball 4. So Richmond loses Aubrey Huff. He's been on base twice.
First walk of the afternoon for Scott Richmond. He walked 3 in his last start, but he also had 5 strikeouts.
This is the George R. Gold Junior School, enjoying the TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone. Great seats, too. Man on for the Orioles here. And Melvin Mora, who, as the replay showed in the second inning, got the gift of the call on a fielder's choice. And that was to the benefit of the Orioles because Luke Scott hit a home run. And the Orioles scored 2 as opposed to 1. And he lines that shot to right field. Rios with the catch, coming back to first quickly, but not in time to get Huff.
Good read by Aubrey Huff, the runner at first base. That ball is hit on a line to the right fielder. Now you've got to judge the height of it. If it falls in there and you're just waiting there, you're going to get thrown out at second base. If you take off, you're going to get doubled off. So he did a good job. Watch how he goes out. He reads the height of it and then realizes Rios is going to be there, puts the brakes on, turns around and gets back before the throw can reach there.
With a little more on Alex, let's go down and find Sam Cosentino.
Well, Jamie, Pat, you know, first base coach Dwayne Murphy, when he played center field for Oakland, was one of the more aggressive center fielders in playing so shallow. He's working with Alex Rios and trying to do the same thing for that exact reason. When that ball was hit, those line drives, he can come on pretty easily. Murphy feels that Alex goes back on a ball is about as good as anyone, and therefore trying to get him to play a little shallower.
If you are going to play shallow, you better be able to go back on the ball. Murphy was pretty good at it in center field. He got me a couple of times.
Oh boy. Huff was on the move, and then Richmond a little late in picking that up. Yeah, he was a 6-time Gold Glover. Good outfield. He had Tony Armas Sr., I believe, and Ricky Henderson working with him.
Right.
He'll quick check Huff again. You could hear Lyle Overbay there screaming for the ball as Huff took off. Watch this.
Yeah, he's got to scream step off, which Richmond does, and by then it's too late as Huff gets back. It looked like he was trying to time the pitcher, maybe get a good jump. You don't want to get thrown out at second base the way Luke Scott has been swinging the bat here at Rogers Center. I don't think they're going to be hitting and running with Luke Scott. I don't think they're going to have a straight steal.
Richmond now setting at the belt. A delay and then the pitch in the air high into center field for Wells. Huff is halfway between the bags and now retreats to first. So Chad Moeller now with 2 gone was an easy strikeout victim of Richmond's in the second. Moeller is the backup to Greg Zahn.
He was signed to a minor league free agent contract this past winter also. Ramon Hernandez was the starting catcher for the Orioles last year. He signed as a free agent with the Cincinnati Reds, and so they needed to go out and find a bridge between one of their better prospects, Matt Wieters, who is down in AAA. So they got a couple of veterans to kind of share that in Moeller and Zahn.
Tap to third. Off balance throw by Rowland. Dug out by Overbay, and then he loses the baseball. In comes Rios quickly. And so Huff advances to third on the error by Rowland.
Had a lot more time than he thought as that ball is in the dirt. This is not like Scott Rowland because he's usually very accurate with his throws right in the chest of the first baseman. But that time on the run, the ball kind of dies on him a little bit, and Overbay can't come up with it, can't dig it out, and the inning continues.
And a chance now for Baltimore to take the lead. Felix Pié lined a double to left center field in the second inning. He's not playing much and hitting only a .173. First pitch from Richmond is a breaking ball. And this is where Barajas has to be guarded against some of those breaking pitches with a man standing at third.
Yeah, you're right. You don't necessarily try and catch the ball. You just try and get in front of it and try and block it, keep it in front of you.
That one doesn't get away. And so it's 1-1 on PA. Once upon a time, he was the #1 prospect in the Chicago Cubs system. He was traded here to Baltimore for left-handed pitcher Garrett Olson. Trying to stick as a 4th outfielder. And that catches the corner. What a pitch from Richmond, and he gets ahead of the batter 1-2.
Yeah, don't even throw him a pitch for a strike, a fastball. He ripped a 1-0 fastball last time up for a double. If you are going to throw it out of the strike zone, maybe you'll chase it, but just keep feeding him those breaking balls.
2 men on for the Orioles. The 1-2 pitch, and he doesn't chase that. It's 2-2. And should PA get on successfully, Cesaris Turris is the number 9 hitter on deck. The inning extended by the throwing error from Scott Rowland. Here's the 2-2, and he's got him. Foul tipped it into the glove of Barajas, and Rod shows off that ball like it's a trophy. Strikeout number 3, and a big one from Richmond in the 4th inning. Takes us to the bottom half, still tied at 2. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Toe-to-toe with Nick Kiprios in October, but he won't be around to watch Hockey Central coming up at 6 Eastern because he'll be on his way to Tampa Bay. Here was the scene at Lakeshore Lions Arena on Halloween. And that's Zani on skates. Here's Kiprios, who scored with ease for the first little while, and then Zahn made 2 saves.
That is what I would look like right there, because I can't skate either. Oh, that's
he
fantastic.
actually did quite well, believe it or not. Watch this. Oh, he stoned him. Oh, what a glove save, Zani. He's not about to switch professions. We know this much.
What a character.
Yep. What a day that was. Curtis Joseph was out with us trying to instruct Zahn, who now catches for the Baltimore Orioles. Watching this one from the bench as Jeremy Guthrie goes to work on Lind. Tied at 2. If you've just joined us, it was Vernon Wells with a 2-out home run in the 1st inning, giving the Blue Jays the early lead. And then Luke Scott, the designated hitter, in the top of the 2nd inning, got those 2 back with a home run of his own. And so in the bottom of the 4th, the DH for Toronto leads off in Lind.
Jeremy Guthrie looks like he's settling in after getting those first 2 batters in the 1st and giving up the 2-run home run. It looks like he's finding his release point.
Mora throws out Lind. There's out number 1. And we'd like to wish a happy belated 90th birthday today to Dorothy Wooden, who's watching out in Nova Scotia on Sportsnet East. It's a great day for outdoor baseball. They just haven't, I guess, got the mechanics on the roof tested yet in time to open things up.
Last homestand, didn't they have the roof off?
Not for a game.
No, not for a game.
Yeah, but I do believe it was at least
during the day. It was open.
Cracked open.
Yeah.
That day is coming, and coming soon, perhaps on the next homestand, when the Yankees and White Sox come in for a combined 7 games. Here's Scott Rowland. Rowland 0 for 1. Guthrie with the pitch inside. Cleveland stops in tomorrow for 2 quick games. Fausto Carmona against Brian Tallett in the opener. You can see it here on Sportsnet tomorrow night. And then a day game on Tuesday. Anthony Reyes against Brett Cecil making his big league debut. There's a punch shot over to Roberts, who goes to his left, throws out Roland, and gets out number 2.
Ryan Roberts, when he first came up, they were talking about him. Is he going to be able to defensively stay in the big leagues? Is he going to be able to hit to stay in the big leagues? He had an awful elbow injury a few years back where it could have cost him his career. Well, yesterday he played in his 1,000th game for the Baltimore Orioles, becoming the 15th player to do that in their history. And today he ties with his 1,001st game BJ Surhoff for 13th.
All the usual suspects are on that list. Al Bumbry and of course Cal Ripken Jr., Eddie Murray. Ken Singleton played 1,000 games with the Baltimore Orioles, believe it or not.
Singleton, Melvin Mora.
Here's Lyle Overbay now with 2 away. He struck out in the 2nd inning. And at the time you thought maybe he's being a little too fine in his selection of the pitches. 0-2 here, and he rips it down the line. A fair ball. That's how you get out of a slump.
Yeah, remember his last time up as Markakis digs it out in right field with 2 strikes. Jeremy Guthrie tried to throw a fastball by him, and he did. Caught Overbay thinking and looking off speed pitch. He tries the same thing with 2 strikes, but Lyle's ready this time, and he just rips this one, gets the head out and rips it by Aubrey Huff, the first baseman. It kicks off that wall down the right field line, and extra bases for Overbay.
It came off the bat so quickly, Huff didn't even attempt at that ball, and Overbay has his 6th double. For a man who is suddenly hitting very well, Rod Barajas, who singled to center in the 2nd inning, bumping his average to now .338.
We'll see how Jeremy Guthrie faces Barajas now. We told you he's very smart. He was the class valedictorian in high school, went to Stanford. Smart guy, so he challenges him with an off-speed pitch.
Pounded to center field, and this brings home Overbay. Barajas is 2 for 2. The Blue Jays are back on top.
See, with first base open and the number 9 hitter on deck who had been struggling, I thought that Guthrie would pitch around Barajas with two outs. But he left something out over the plate, and when you are going as well as Barajas is, everything you hit hard. That looked like a changeup, and he got all of this one. It stays in the park. Extra bases, back-to-back doubles. He switches places with Overbay, and the Jays have the lead.
And now Snyder, who saw 1 pitch from Guthrie in his first at bat and hit it deep to left field, goes after the first pitch again and fouls this one away. There's no question Travis has struggled recently. Gene Tennis has been working with him. The concern for Tennis and Cito Gaston is that Snyder is swinging at too many different pitches. He goes after fastballs, changeups, breaking balls. They'd like him to be a little more selective, go up with a plan. I know you always hear that from Cito.
Yeah, he says there's a difference between swinging at changeups and fastballs than curveballs and fastballs.
He shoots that one into the ground, fielded by Roberts, and Snyder is out. He's 0 for 2, but Barajas picks up the 2-out double, bringing home Overbay, and the Blue Jays are back. With MLB.tv, it's the ultimate baseball experience. You get 100 out-of-market games every week live on your computer. If you're interested, please check details at BlueJays.com, where baseball is always on. Here are the Orioles and the Blue Jays in the third and final game of this series. Toronto leads 3-2. Scott Richmond facing the number 9 hitter, Cesar Izturis. Into the 5th inning. And Izturis, hitting .240, is 0 for 1. Brian Roberts, as you saw, awaits on deck. Adam Jones is in the hole. The top 3 in Baltimore's order are a collective 0 for 6 so far.
Well, you don't want to walk the number 9 hitter now, and Scott Richmond is a pitch away from doing that. Don't want to be setting the table up to the top of that lineup.
Fastball in, misses, and that's exactly what he does. So just as the Blue Jays get the lead back, Baltimore sees their number 9 get on base to lead off the 5th inning.
Second straight inning that Scott has walked the leadoff batter. He was able to leave Huff at third base last inning. Going to be a little bit tougher now with Roberts coming up.
These next 3 players tend to thrive in situations like this one. Roberts, good bat control, tremendous speed. Although he's 0 for 12 in this series. Ball 1.
Sam was talking earlier how Scott is throwing a lot of first pitch strikes. It's kind of slowed down a little bit now. 2 straight batters here to open the 5th inning, falling behind. It's an Oriole team that has struggled to score some runs.
That's certainly not been a problem with the Blue Jays. They're averaging 6 runs a game this year. And so the Jays know that if they get into trouble from a pitching perspective, someone struggles, goes 2, 3, or 4 innings.
The offense will help them out and keep them in games.
Out toward left field, and this looks dangerous. And it's a foul ball, and just.
Boy, he stayed on that ball, and you're right, that did look dangerous. But any ball off the bat of a left-handed hitter down the left field line, it's going to be slicing towards that line. Watch this one. It's slicing and slicing. It kind of disappears. There it is, right under that glove. And it's just a foot or so foul. Look at that.
Brian Roberts can't buy a hit in this series. He's been robbed by Travis Snyder the odd time. Got 2 strikes on him here. Richmond with the pitch, and it's rolled toward first in foul ground. Even when he did get on, and Roberts did with a walk in the 3rd inning, he tried to go first to third on a base hit by Jones, and Snyder came up with that bullet throw into third base to get him.
Yeah, I think we have to go back and think how many runs that Travis Snyder saved with his glove yesterday. And we were talking to Cito before the game about that you can't take your hitting woes out on the field.
Nor, as Aaron Hill stated after the game, you can't take your fielding woes to the plate. That must be so hard to do, though. I know you played for so long. If you make an error afield and you get up at the plate, how do you collect yourself?
You just have to say, I got to help my team somehow win this ball game and make up for it. Well, Aaron certainly did yesterday. It's tough too when you're not swinging the bat well to go out on the field and You want to think about, your next at bat. Well, you got a job to do right now with the glove to help your team.
Here comes Richmond, and it's yanked foul. In fact, Overbay almost got a glove on that.
Well, let's see. He hit a ball down the left field line that was just foul. Now he rips one down the right field line that's just foul. So this one's going to be right down the middle, right? He's going to hit it out to center field. Or a ground ball up the middle. Tough to defend Brian Roberts because he can hit the ball all over the plate.
Blue Jays asks Richmond to back off the rubber.
Blue Jays playing pretty much straight up. Vernon Wells is shading him though towards left center just a little bit. As you see the numbers for Scott Richmond, first, second, and third time through.
In the dirt, Barajas gets in front of it quickly. 2-2 now, 63 pitches thrown by Richmond. Had his longest big league outing on Tuesday down in Kansas City. A 7-inning affair. Gave up just a run on 5 hits and defeated Gil Mesh. Here he's locked in quite a battle with Jeremy Guthrie. Hit to center field. This backs up Wells. Right in front of the track, and a long fly out for Roberts keeps the Sturris at first.
He might have been able to tag up on that play if he read it. I know Vernon Wells was thinking that when he got back there. Hustled back there and planted that right foot and got himself into throwing position to get the ball quickly back into the infield in case Sturris tried to tag up. I think Cesar noticed that a little bit too late, that the ball was going to stay in the ballpark. Let's watch him. Here he is right here. He goes out and he goes about halfway and then says, oh, wait a minute. You know what? I got a chance. Maybe I can tag up here, but by then it's too late. No chance you're going to do it there. You got to just read that right off the bat.
Here's Jones fouling at bat. Well, we know the Pat Tabler spray chart was effective.
Yeah.
Foul ball to left, foul ball to right. Ends up hitting one to center field.
See, we could have called that. Oh, we did call that.
You did call it. And now it's Jones' turn with one away. Jones is 0 for 2. Nick Markakis on deck 0 for 2. Richmond has done a wonderful job of keeping this top 3 off the base paths. Little roller out toward first. Overbay gets the tag applied on Jones before he can slide into first base. And that was probably closer than it appeared.
Well, that kid right there, Adam Jones, is always hustling. That's one thing that I've noticed in these 3 games here. He is really puts his body on the line and plays the game the right way. He is smelling base hit on that ball off the end of the bat. No chance for Overbay to get a Sturris at second base. Here's his only play, and Jones, who was hustling out of the box, gets down the line and almost beats it out. I mean, that's a squibbler off the end of the bat right there, and he makes it close.
I'm impressed with the fact that he can sprint down the line and blow a bubble at the same time. That's pure athleticism. Nick Markakis now.
You know what's scary about that play is I've seen guys get hurt on that play where they kind of dive into first base and they do it wrong. They hit the dirt wrong and they can hurt their shoulder or they break a finger, something like that. It's a dangerous play when you're diving like that.
1-0 to Markakis, now 2-0. Remember, Corey Koski in his only year with the Blue Jays broke a thumb by sliding head first into second base and spent some time on the DL.
Well, you're just not used to it going down that first base line, right? You're just going down there and usually tag the bag with your foot. And sometimes you're caught in between. Should I do that or shouldn't I? And a lot of times you end up diving too late, and that's when you get hurt.
2-1 on Markakis. That's why you always see when guys eventually get on base, they take their batting gloves off and grip them so that if they do need to go head first.
Or when you slide, your hand doesn't go on the ground and you jam your wrist.
Right.
So you're supposed to throw your hands up when you slide. Feet first.
Fouled away by Markakis. So 2 strikes on the number 3 hitter with Esteuras at second base. Top of the 5th inning. The Blue Jays by 1. Scott Richmond already 3-0 on the year. Has thrown 71 pitches and wants to put another good outing here together against the O's.
Time to make a pitch right here to Nick Markakis. 2 strikes. He's done it all afternoon now.
Keeps an eye on Esteuras. Here he comes, and it's ripped foul. So Markakis will try again. They knew this guy was coming after the Orioles selected him with their first pick, 7th overall in 2003 out of a high school in Georgia. They like him enough that this past January the 22nd, they signed him to a 6-year deal. He'll be an Oriole at the very least through 2014. And on the 2-2 pitch, he yanks it again, and this time it's a souvenir.
Well, right now, I think what Scott Richmond and Rob Barajas are trying to figure out, what can we throw here to Nick Markakis to finish him off? I believe he flew out his last time on an off-speed pitch to left field. They're trying to crowd him with pitches. He's got such great plate coverage, and he thinks right along with the pitcher. Maybe you could throw something off the plate here. See if he'll go after it. No sign.
The pitch. And a breaking ball tapped down the line. No time to get Markakis, but they throw it away anyway. Bad decision by Barajas, and Esteuras ties the ball game.
Yeah, you're right there. Scott Richmond does throw something off the plate, and he does get Markakis to hit it right off the end of the bat. Now, I don't think they had any shot at getting Markakis over at first base. The best thing they could do would probably let it go. Maybe it'll squirt foul, but they're not going to throw out Markakis from there. You can see he's already over the bag, and that ball goes over the head of Overbay. Didn't look from that angle that that ball was going to go foul. So you just have to pick that up and just hold it.
And now Aubrey Huff, who has singled and walked. Markakis up at second, so a single scores him. He's got very good speed. Tied at 3 in the 5th inning. If you're scoring at home, Markakis gets a single on the play and charge an error to Barajas, allowing Markakis to advance to second. There is the 2-0 from Richmond.
A little generous call there, but they will take it. Aubrey Huff not happy with that call. 2-0 looked like it was down a little bit.
He gets jammed, and that's fouled out of play.
We were talking yesterday how well the Baltimore Orioles had hit so far this year with runners in scoring position. last year, or excuse me, yesterday, just 1 for 14. That will go as a base hit with a runner in scoring position with Nick Markakis, with no RBI.
Oh, curveball and strike 3. Aubrey Huff, he's tossed the bat, he's tossed the helmet, and he better be careful he doesn't get tossed.
Well, the 2-0 pitch, he didn't like that one, and he doesn't like strike 3 either.
Strike. Obviously, Tremblay didn't like the call. He starts jawing at Tiller, and Tiller does this.
Well, he kind of goes, oh, well, I'm going to throw it. Well, go ahead and throw him out. So he throws him out, and Tremblay's saying, hey, wait a minute. Who's throwing me out here? Which one of you guys are throwing me out?
And then Tremblay decided to hold court with both of them. That was great. Tiller sort of looked to Lane and said, do you mind if I chuck him? You don't often see that. He said, go ahead, kid. And so the manager will watch this one from the clubhouse. Welcome to the major leagues, Chris Tiller. He just called a strike on Marco Scutaro, who leads off the Jays half of the 5th. Grounds to third, picked up by Mora. Mora throws out Scutaro, 1 gone. And when Dave Tremblay gets heated, boy, is he animated.
Well, I think Tremblay came out there at the end of that inning. Aubrey Huff obviously upset, throwing his bat down and walking towards first base, and the umpire kind of followed him out there. Huff said nothing, and Tremblay went out there and go, hey, don't be following my player down the first base line. You know, he struck out. He didn't say anything to you. He turned his back and went to his position as Mora fields his and throws out Hill. Tremblay then went back to the dugout and was thrown out.
Two quick outs for Guthrie here in the 5th. And now Alex Rios takes a fastball high.
We'll have to find out why Jeremy Guthrie is throwing out of the stretch with nobody on base. I guess he feels like he can feel a little bit more compact. Stay within himself, throwing out of the stretch with nobody on. Usually you see pitchers in full windup. He's done it the whole game. Except this inning, he's now throwing out of the stretch. Relief pitchers do that a lot when they come in.
Jason Frazier, an example.
And you ask them why they do that, and they say, well, I just feel like, you know, there's going to be runners on base, and I just feel a little bit more compact when I throw out of the stretch. Worked so far here for Jeremy Guthrie.
And did we not see him throwing out of the windup with, at one point, Alex Rios at second? Did we not see that earlier? No?
Not out of the windup,
I thought that's why they were. Oh, Rios, look out below. This thing is tattooed.
Well, that fan's happy. Blue Jays get the run they gave away in the top of the inning, right back with one swing of the bat by Alex Rios, and that is a bomb. 2 strikes right in the wheelhouse. Cito has talked about the talent that Rios has. He's so strong. This is a no doubt about it. Guthrie's second home run given up this afternoon.
Alex's second home run of the year. And now Wells charges one to center field. Jones is back, leaping, and he's got it. He made the catch. Came awful close.
Had it all the way. Adam Jones to the
Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
We come back to Toronto just as Melvin Mora singles up the middle to kick off the 6th inning. This is Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino. Here's a replay of what Mora just did. And the Blue Jays, courtesy of Alex Rios, his second home run, take a 4-3 lead. And now it'll be critical for Richmond to try and shut down the Orioles here. Every time the Blue Jays have taken a lead in this game, the Orioles have come right back in their next inning and tied it up. Wells homer in the first made it 2-0. And then this man, Luke Scott, went deep in the second. The Blue Jays added a run on back-to-back doubles in the 4th. But there came the Orioles in the top of the 5th inning, getting a run in part due to a throwing error by Rod Barajas. And now the Rios home run gives the lead back.
I think this is a big inning for Scott Richmond and the Blue Jays and Cito Gaston. If he can get through this inning, the 6th inning, if he wants to turn it over to his bullpen, Then he just has 3 innings to kind of navigate through the end of the game. Yesterday, they used 4 relievers to pitch in 5 innings. Just 82 pitches for Scott Richmond, so this is a big inning. And then if Cito needs to go to his bullpen next inning, make it a lot easier on him.
The pitch off the plate, 3-1 on Scott. And now Richmond has himself a battle with the designated hitter.
I think you need to stay away from Luke Scott. He's very quick down and in. Anything in. He's looking for something 3-1 here that he can yank into right field. I think you have to stay away from him. That's where they're going. Good pitch. Blue Jays really pinched the middle of the field with runners on base. Scott Rowland, the third baseman, is way off. Almost in the hole between short and third. Look at that. Look at Marco Scudero's playing.
They check Mora at first. Richmond was able to get Huff on a curveball for strike 3 to end the top of the 5th. Here it's 3-2 on Scott. Mora the man at first. Barajas edging out to the corner of the plate, and it's fouled away. Runner breaks from first, swung on and missed by Scott, and the tag applied on Melvin Mora. What on earth happened there?
Well, I think what the Orioles are arguing about is there was no call from the home plate umpire. If Luke Scott had held up enough, I think that's what Melvin Mora is upset about. He wasn't sure if it was ball 4 or strike 3. Watch it, high fastball. Scott checks his swing and nothing. There's no call. But Barajas does the right thing. He throws through anyway. And Mora's confused as he stands between first and second. Blue Jays will take it though.
Sure they will. One and one on Moeller. It kind of begs the question, if you're not sure, why stop running?
Well, because you look back in, you know, when you start taking off, you look back in, the pitch looked like it was high, but there was no call by the home plate umpire if it was a ball or a strike. Usually if it's strike 3, you get that right arm coming up like that, and it tells the base runner just keep going. But when he saw nothing, he figured it was ball 4.
What a break for the Jays. A punch him out and really an easy throw him out too, and a 1-2 on the way to Moeller, but he gets a piece. Certainly Dave Tremblay, who's probably watching now from the clubhouse, is less than pleased with Chris Tiller. He got tossed a little earlier, and now he watches as his base runner Mora is thrown out rather easily. You saw Brian Wolf starting to warm. 91 pitches now for Richmond. Here's the kick and the pitch to Moeller. He got him. Strikes him out twice today and gets through the 6th without harm, despite giving up a leadoff single. So the Jays maintain their lead, and in the photo day here at Rogers Center. Your chance to take pictures of your favorite Blue Jays. BlueJays.com has more information. The gates open about 2 hours before game time, and we must remind you that you need a game ticket and your own camera to be granted admission. So check out BlueJays.com for more information there. 4-3 Toronto, and Scott Richmond gets the benefit of the call from a strike him out and throw him out in that top half of the 6th inning. So here in the bottom, it's Adam Lynn, the DH, who gets jammed and pops it up. Moeller near the Blue Jays dugout makes the catch and puts Lind away. So an Alex Rios home run right now is the difference. Rios with his 2nd of the year. And the timing is very interesting because Cito Gaston had been quizzed prior to the game about how much longer he considers using Rios in the 3-hole. And those 3 and 4 hitters, Rios and Wells, as this shot heads toward the seats in right field, are a combined 3 for 6 today with 2 home runs, a double.
All the runs scored, all the RBIs. And that's why they're hitting 3 and 4.
Scott rolling 0 for 2. 2 balls and a strike. And that's a 2-hopper down to Mora, who gets up and throws to first in time.
Very underrated third baseman Melvin Mora. As you take a look at Brad Arnsberg talking to his starter Scott Richmond, it looks like they're going to try and get another inning out of him because that inning was pretty quick.
Let's see what Sam Cosentino has.
Well, Jamie, a couple of changes in the Baltimore roster that may impact today's game. Bob McCrory was called up. He'll pitch out of the pen to replace Dennis Sarfate. And Luis Montañez has a sprained right thumb as a result of the sliding catch he made yesterday. He's not available for today's game. So 1 man short off the bench and 1 extra man in the pen here for Baltimore today.
So that leaves Zahn and Dino and Wigginton off the bench for Dave Tremblay's team. Overbay with 2 away, 6th inning. He doubled and scored in the 4th inning and takes a strike.
Guthrie loves using that fastball, doesn't he? Pumped that one right by Overbay, 2-0. Let's see if he changes up and he challenges him again.
Into left field. Here comes PA. There goes Overbay, and Guthrie gets a 1-2-3 6th inning. So after 6 here at Rogers Center, it's the Blue Jays. Well, here's Scott Richmond performing in the 7th inning. So far, a decent outing. 2 earned runs on 5 hits, 6 innings of work.
Yeah, he has averaged 97 pitches per start, so he's getting close to that spot right now, 92 through 6. I think he's on a short leash here. If anybody gets on, Cito Gaston has some action, getting ready in the bullpen right now. Be careful with this guy here. I'm sure he's going to try and bunt his way on or try to get on.
You look at Felix Piet, who doubled sharply to left field in the 2nd inning. He struck out in the 4th. There's the left-hander Carlson on your left, and Brian Wolf, who's just up from AAA Las Vegas. And now a troublesome start against PA, 2-0 against the number 8 hitter. Cesar Izturis at number 9 awaits on deck. That might have been ball 3, but PA fouls it away, so it's 2-1. That's on the ground to Hill. He comes forward to make the play and throws out PA.
You know, he still has a good fastball. That one, 92 miles an hour. Jam PA in a fastball count. Still has enough of his fastball to get in there. That's a good sign.
Here's Izturis again. In the 3 innings prior to this 7th, Richmond allowed the leadoff man to get on twice by way of the walk, once by a Mora single. As this shot has Hill moving to his left, making a nice play and getting the number 9 hitter.
There is some speed there in Izturis. But Aaron Hill with some good range just eats it up. He gets himself ready. Look at, takes a good path to the ball. And then it's a nice easy throw to get the 2nd out here.
And so Scott Richmond now with 2 out and Brian Roberts coming up. Attempting to match the career high 7 innings he worked on Tuesday in Kansas City. And he'll get it. He will get it thanks to that glove. Oh, Scott Rowland.
Some gold over at third. He takes away a hit and finds his glove for the 3rd out. Beautiful play by Scott Rowland.
Home runs from Toronto's side from both Vernon Wells and Alex Rios, and that seems to be the difference right now.
Yeah, we'll see if the bullpen can hold it. We look out there and we see Jesse Carlson warming up. It looked like in between innings, Bruce Walton, the bullpen coach, kind of signaled to Carlson that you are in there. So we'll see how that works out.
And we certainly won't dismiss the importance of Rod Barajas' double with 2 out in the 4th inning that brought home Overbay and gave the Blue Jays at that time a 3-2 lead. He's hitting .347 as he faces Jeremy Guthrie here in the bottom of the 7th inning. This is Jamie Campbell with Pat Tabler and Sam Cosentino wishing a happy 94th birthday today to Lillian Craig watching in Owen Sound. As well, happy 82nd to Phyllis McLean, who's tuned in on Sportsnet West in Saskatoon. 2-1 on the ground, and Mora has it. Barajas is thrown out 5-3.
Mora's been busy over there at third base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 assists now for Melvin Mora.
And he's been upstaged by Scott Rowland, who just made an impeccable play on Brian Roberts. Roberts just can't buy a hit in this series. Snyder's taken a few away from him. Now Rowland does, as Travis swings at the first pitch and fouls it away.
That's one of the pitches right there that Cito was talking about, that he's swinging at everything. That fastball that was up right there, it looks like pitchers are starting to try and get Travis out at the top of the strike zone. Whenever that happened as a hitter, what you want to do is you really want to concentrate and bring your eye level down and say, okay, I'm going to hit everything under here. Breaking balls and then fastballs up here, pitchers have found a little weakness in Travis, and all you have to do is just let a couple of those go back and let them go by you, and they'll bring the ball back down for you.
Fastball taken foul, and oftentimes we'll look down on the bench and see Cito Gaston side by side talking hitting with Adam Lind. He will not do that with Travis Snider. He feels Snider, while in game, is easier to discuss things with when he's not playing, essentially. He doesn't like clouding the young man's mind with questions about your approach. What are you looking for? What do you think you want to do while the game is underway? He'll talk hitting with him after the game, before the game, but not during. Whereas Lind, he'll always be picking his brain.
I think that's because he's more of a young hitter who's just learning himself. Lind a little bit more established than Travis. But there will come a time that I'm sure we'll see Travis Snider sitting next to Cito Gaston as he waits to go on deck, talking about what pitchers are trying to do to him.
Once again, let's bring in Sam Cosentino. Sam?
Well, Jamie, just a quick update on the pitching situation for the Blue Jays. Casey Janssen threw 4 scoreless innings yesterday in Dunedin, walked 1, struck out 3, 49 pitches, scheduled to start again on the 7th, and that would put him right on line for that target date that the JP Ricciardi spoke about 2 days ago. The 12th would be his next start after that, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get him stretched out long enough to possibly make that start in the rotation somewhere around the 12th of May.
Well, Jansen's looking good down there in the Florida State League. 2 starts, 7 innings, 1 hit allowed, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And by my calculation, the 12th of May would fall on a Roy Halladay start in the first game against the Yankees here. As Scudero pops this one into center. So they might have to massage things a little bit. Jones comes in and puts away the leadoff man. A 1-2-3 7th for Jeremy Guthrie. Still a 4-3 lead for the Blue Jays. Good outing.
Yeah, very impressive. He gets himself through 7 innings, just 5 hits, the 2 earned runs given up. That was the home run that he gave up to Luke Scott. Really, when you kind of put it all together, he really just gave up the 1 run. That would have been on the home run. Remember the play at first base? That cost him a run, and then the error by Rob Barajas cost him another run. So good outing here for Scott Richmond. 7 strong innings. He's going to turn it over to the bullpen.
Another quality outing for Richmond, and he gets to lean on a quality bullpen. Jesse Carlson makes his 14th appearance, a 1.32 ERA. He's allowed just 2 earned runs in 13 2/3 on 8 hits. Opponent's batting average 167.
Through in yesterday's game, and Cito was talking about that also before the game, that he has done everything that he has asked. He has always taken the ball, pitched in tough situations against tough hitters. No decision yesterday, but important because the bullpen had to hold it so they could win it in extras.
Adam Jones is 0 for 3. He'll be followed by Markakis and then Huff. A right-hander and then two lefties coming up for Baltimore. Here's the 2-strike pitch up high. Grounds the ball up the middle. To his left is Scudero, and he throws out Jones. The All-Star game this year is in St. Louis, and you can vote now for your favorite Blue Jay by going to bluejays.com. Fans are allowed a maximum 25 votes per email address. I heard a great suggestion last year. They should put middle relievers as a category.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people like Jesse Carlson, or if you want an early season pick from the Blue Jays pen, Jason Frazier, would probably deserve to be in an All-Star game based on what they can do, but it's always either starters or closers.
Yeah, they can't get the numbers that the two types of pitchers you just talked about. They don't get the saves. For the most part, they don't get the wins, but they get the holds. Scott Shields comes to mind from the Angels. Those middle guys are so important now as they bridge to the closer.
1-2 on Markakis. The pitch, and he rolls it to short. Scudero, the hard throw gets him.
Good strong throw by Marco Scudero at shortstop. First batter of this inning, he goes to his left to throw out a fast runner. And then he goes in the hole, and he had time to plant that right foot and get a lot on it. Throw out Markakis.
Brian Wolf has taken a seat. Brandon League is up. So too is Bill Murphy. Aubrey Huff now the batter. Wave and a miss. 0-1. Huff wearing number 17. He used to wear 19, but switched in memory of his good friend and former Blue Jay pitcher, the late Joe Kennedy. Hitting in the 8th inning here in a 1-run ball game. Carlson last year an impressive 7-2 in 69 games. He had a 2.25 ERA. Gets a swing there. He's got 2 strikes on Huff. Never seemed to wear down a year ago. They went to him constantly, and he constantly got the job done. Trying to get a 1-2-3 8th inning here. 2 strikes on Aubrey. Here's the pitch down low. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Look at Jesse Carlson. Oh, baby.
Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
The ace of the Baltimore staff continues on. 7 innings of work against the Jays. He's given up 4 runs, only walked 1. And here's something to call home about. He's kept Aaron Hill off the bases, 0 for 3. Hill is the league leader in hits with 43 coming into this day, and it's been pitches like that one. He got fooled on a changeup in the 3rd, and now he's behind 0-2 here in the 8th inning.
He's really been a thorn in the side of the O's coming into this game. His last 10, almost 500 batting average with 4 homers and 4 doubles and 9 ribbies. So you're right, that is saying something. The way that Aaron Hill has swung the bat against the Orioles. Jeremy Guthrie, on the other hand, he has retired 10 of the last 11 batters that he has faced. The only mistake he's made has been the difference in this game.
Strike 3 called. Hill is gone. We rarely see him go a game without a hit in the early part of this season, but he's 0 for 4 now. Paid attendance today, 20,418. And they'll see Alex Rios come back to the plate. Alex with a long home run in the 5th inning.
And that's the only mistake that I was just referring to. The home run by Rios.
You know, Pat, the Blue Jays are already 17-9. If Rios and Wells catch fire and hit the way you expect from 3 and 4 hitters, imagine what this team could do. They're averaging 6 runs. Here's a line shot to left field. PA throws up the glove and makes the catch.
Well, we've talked about that before, how hitters like Vernon Wells and how Alex Rios, because of where they hit in the lineup, they have that ability to carry ball clubs for a week at a time. When you have your 3 and 4 hitters hitting well, they're coming up with guys on base, and if they've got power, you know, with one swing of the bat, you've got 2-3 runs on the board.
And both men are, you know, they're scratching out their hits, they're getting their RBIs, but coming into today, they had combined for 4 home runs, and I think people expect more than just 4 home runs a month into the season from the 3 and 4 hitters. Add 2 more between them today, and you've got a combination of 6. Oh, 2 from Guthrie. And Wells flies it into short left center field. PA darts in, makes the catch. Another clean inning. That's 3 straight 1-2-3s for Guthrie. And so for the the fastest and most reliable period. Jason Fraser leads all major league relievers with 4 wins. There's a reason that we've been calling him the Vulture. I don't think he minds.
No.
I haven't spoken to him about it, but he parachutes in at the right time, pitches well, and picks up victories here and there, as he did yesterday in the 11th inning. This is not about a victory for Scott Downs. This is about a save, and he has 2 of them this year.
2 for 2 in save opportunities. 3 straight games now for Scott Downs. All 3 in this series. He's got great numbers. Check out the strikeouts per innings pitched.
We will see then if working on back-to-back-to-back days shows a little wear and tear on that arm as he takes over the role for B.J. Ryan.
B.J. threw today down in the bullpen. Saw him out there.
For many years, Downs, when he first came into the big leagues with the Cubs and then the Expos, was a starting pitcher, and now finds himself exclusively as a man coming out of the bullpen, facing Melvin Moore, the 3rd baseman.
Yeah, and I think that background as a starter has helped him as a reliever, because he can use all of his pitches then to get guys out. A lot of times when you see closers or 8th inning guys come in, they're basically 2-pitch pitchers, and they just blow you away with great heat or a trick pitch, like a good slider or a good split finger. Scott's a guy who's got to have control. He's got to kind of add and subtract to his pitches, and he's got a very good curveball that he can use to right-handers, and he backdoors it to the right-handers, where he gets a lot of outs.
2-2 on Mora, and he steps off. Mora went back to consult with Chris Tiller on that last pitch, a strike on the outer half. And here comes Downs. Luke Scott is on deck for Baltimore. He's got a home run in the game. Chad Moeller is scheduled to hit right after Scott, but I see Ty Wigginton with a bat. Here comes the 2-2. In at the shoelaces, and it's 3-2. The payoff. Grounded to Hill. Mora is thrown out. Commentator clothing is provided in part by Zizenya. Statistical information provided by StatsInc.
You know, first batter efficiency is a stat that we have seen, and I think it's so important with relievers, especially closers. Can you retire that first batter, because it's so important to get that first out. Downs now 10 for 13 in first batter efficiency, coming back to get Melvin Mora.
1-0 on Luke Scott.
4 home runs now for Luke Scott. 1 of them have been against a left-handed pitcher. He's just hitting over 200 this season against lefties, but he has a home run.
Those in attendance here, 20,000 and change, questioning the call there. There's Downs behind in the count. And that misses as well, so it's 3-0.
Staying in on his hands, because he doesn't want him to get one out over the plate. They might green light him here. 3-0.
He's taking, and there's a strike. There's Wigginton, hitting just .205. But he's proven in the past he's got power. 3-1. And a shot in foul territory. Roland plays it. And Scott's gone.
Big pitch, 3-1, and is able to stay inside against Luke Scott where he can't get the barrel of the bat out. Weak pop up to third base.
The Blue Jays, as you look at this pitch to Scott.
Sometimes when you're thinking extra base hit, that swing gets a little long and you get jammed. You actually jam yourself. That's what happened right there with Luke Scott as he pops out.
Here's Wigginton. There's the grounder. And that's the ball game. The Blue Jays with their first sweep of 2009.
They did it with some good pitching today from Scott Richmond. Jesse Carlson comes in, a scoreless 8th inning. And Scott Downs a 1-2-3 ninth to pick up his 3rd save and 3 opportunities. That guy right there, Alex Rios, the big star today, a double and a long home run, which was the difference.
The middle of the order came through. Scott Richmond now 4-0. 3 for 3 in saves as Scott Downs and the Blue Jays sweep away the Orioles, running their record to 18-9. For Pat Tabler,